verse 15, these people that John sees who came up out of the great tribulation washed their robes, made them white in the blood of the Lamb. Therefore, they are before the throne of God, and they serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sits upon the throne shall dwell among them. The place of the church in heaven is the bride of Christ, not really sitting in the temple, but Jesus gave the promise to he that overcomes, I will grant to sit with me on my throne, even as I have overcome and have sat on the Father's throne. So the place of the church in heaven is different from the place of these who have been martyred for their testimony of Jesus Christ. So, having been here on the earth, they did experience much of the judgment of God that came upon the earth. Ultimately martyred and thus saved through martyrdom. But notice, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst, verse 16. And the sun shall not light on them, nor any heat. In Revelation chapter 8, next week, the first angel sounded, and there followed hail and fire mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and a third part of the trees were burnt up, and all of the grass was burnt up. And the other angel sounded, and he talks about the judgment against the waters, the fresh waters. And the name of the star is called wormwood, and a third part of the waters became as wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter or poisonous. In Revelation 6:6, I heard the voice in the midst of the four living creatures saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny. See that you don't hurt the oil and the wine. A tremendous shortage of food. And thus, those that are here on the earth will experience a great famine. There are indications that there will be a very serious war with nuclear weapons, and the radioactive fallout will pollute much of the food supply of the world so that it will be inedible, and thus a great famine and hunger and thirst, the water supplies, fresh water supplies being destroyed. And it's going to be really a heavy-duty thing, so that these people that came up out of the Great Tribulation, while they were here, experienced the hunger, experienced the thirst, and experienced that great problem with the sun increasing in its intensity, and the sun shall not light on them, nor any heat. They will thirst no more. Going through great thirst here on earth. David said, how excellent is thy loving kindness, O God. Therefore the children of men put their trust under the shadow of thy wings. They shall be abundantly satisfied with the fatness of thy house, and thou shalt make them drink of the river of thy pleasures. For with thee is the fountain of life, and in thy light shall we see light. Jeremiah said, for my people have committed two evils. They have forsaken me, the fountain of living waters, and they have hewed out cisterns, broken cisterns that can hold no water. Jeremiah is really speaking about the folly of the people as they had forsaken the fountain of living water, the Lord Jesus Christ. And they had hewn out cisterns. Now, a cistern was sort of a reservoir. Because the land is very arid during the summer period, they would carve these huge cisterns out of the rock, and they would store the runoff rainwater in the rainy season in these cisterns. The problem with the cisterns is that the water gets stale. These little wiggly things in the water, and also you'd have to strain it to drink it. But it was at least, a way to supply your water during the drought or the summer season. But some of the cisterns, you'd carve them out, spend years carving into the rock these cisterns. And somehow you missed that there was this fissure in the rock, and when the rains came and you went out to, gather the water, you found that the bucket hit the bottom of the cistern. The water just didn't stay in. It didn't hold the water. And that's what Jeremiah said, they're broken cisterns. Jesus, the fountain of living water. Water is essential for life. Now, water being essential for life, people try to create systems of belief, but they are broken cisterns. They can't hold water. And so with man-made religions, they are broken cisterns. They just can't hold water. And Jeremiah speaks to that, the two evils, forsaken the fountain of living waters, fresh water, running water, and hewed out these cisterns, but they are broken cisterns. They can't hold water. Jesus said, whosoever drinks of the water that I shall give to him shall never thirst, but the water that I shall give to him shall be in him a well of water springing up to everlasting life. Jesus said in the last day, the great day of the feast, Jesus stood and cried, saying, if any man thirst, let him come unto me and drink. And he that drinks of the water that I give, out of his innermost being, there will flow or gush torrents of living water. John tells us that he was speaking of the Spirit, which was not yet given. Revelation 21, verse 6, right towards the end, he said to me, it is done. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give unto him that is thirsty of the fountain of the water of life freely. Here it tells us that he is going to wipe away all the tears. He said to me, thou must prophesy, beg your pardon, I jumped to a page. God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, the end of the chapter there. Job said, man that is born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. Quite a picture of life, short and full of trouble. But we all know what it is to experience sorrow, to experience the pain of sorrow. We don't escape that. And there is trouble.